Do you feel like you're wasting your time every time you come to the driving range because you pay for all these buckets of balls and you go out to the golf course and it just doesn't pay off? Well, listen up because this video is for you. Hi, I'm Paul Williamson from Paul Williamson Golf here at Burleigh West Golf Driving Range on the Gold Coast. I'm here today to talk to you about how to improve your practice when you actually do go to the range and hit some balls so that you can actually transfer what you're doing to the golf course. I know that you've probably been out before and done a heap of practice and walked away from the range feeling, hey, I feel great about hitting my driver. I feel great about my 7-iron right now. I'm going to kill it tomorrow when I get on the golf course. And you get out there and it's just completely pear-shaped. And you're going, what a waste of time, what a waste of money. Well, if that's you, then the good news is there's a reason for it. It's not just in your head, it's actually what you're doing in preparation. Chances are the time that you're spending on those 100 balls or whatever it might be in the bucket is pretty much a waste of time because driving ranges are set up easier than the actual game of golf. Just think about it. It's dead flat most of the time. You're pretty much hitting in the same direction. The wind's in the same direction. Nothing's changing too much. And then if you then go ahead and just hit 100 drivers, well, you haven't changed clubs at all. Now, just think about that for a second. Does that look almost anything like golf on the golf course? Probably not. It's actually a random game. It's a problem-solving game, golf. And if you're not practicing of how to solve different problems every time you hit a golf shot, then you're not really practicing the game of golf. What you're doing is you're coming down and building confidence up of hitting a driver every 10 seconds the same way. That's easy. You'll have a rhythm. It's just not how it's going to be on the golf course when you might have half an hour between drivers when you're playing a game of golf. So what's the solution? Well, it's what you do in your practice. Now, don't get me wrong, hitting the same club each time has its place. So for instance, what I want you to do is to split your bucket of balls up into 3 distinct phases, right? So the first phase will be block practice. Block practice means it might be one club to one target with very clear alignment sticks or golf clubs down on the ground, checking where you're actually aiming that day, checking your ball position, checking your grip, checking all those basics that you've learned from your coach or learn over time, and just making sure that today is the same as what it was last time you came out, because I'll guarantee you'll be different every day you've been alive. You'll be different. So that's number one. That might be 20 balls out of 100, say. After you've done that block practice and you're pretty aware of where your alignment is and where your ball position is along those lines, the next thing will be variable practice, right? For the next 20 or so balls there. Variable practice might be, hey, I'm going to still use my 7-iron, or I'm still going to use my driver. So you're keeping the same club in your hand, but this time I'm going to aim at a different target every time. Every shot's a different target. I am going to aim left and try and hit a big cut back to the fairway. I'm then going to aim right and hit a big draw back to the fairway. I'm going to try and hit this one as high as I can or as low as I can. So what you're doing with that type of practice is there's some things that are staying the same, i.e. the same club in your hand, but you're starting to get your brain working on how it's going to solve this problem of hitting that big cut or the high shot or whatever, which is what's starting to happen on the golf course. So that might mean that there's a specific part of your game that you want to work. You want to work on your tee shots, so you get your driver out and do that. Next week it might be, hey, I've got to work on my wedge shots. So you grab your sandwich and you hit high shots, low shots, half swings, full swings, all that kind of stuff and see where they go. That's variable practice. But this is what the majority of your bucket of balls needs to be. And every time you come and practice, this is what it needs to be. It's called random practice. And basically what that means is that's like you got to try and simulate the game of golf as much as possible. And if possible, make it even a little bit harder than the actual game. So what do I mean by that? And what's the way of doing that? Well, imagine the golf course on the driving range. So i.e. you might imagine the golf course that you play most of all. What's the first tee shot? Oh, it's a driver. Okay, so you look down the fairway, you pick out a left side or right side. There might be a bunker down the left, there's a trees down the right. You tee off, you try and hit it in the fairway. But let's say you hit it into the right-hand trees. And now you've got to use your imagination a bit and go, oh, what kind of a shot do I think I'd have there? It's a guessing game, but that's fine. It's training your brain again. That's what we're doing here. So you get in the trees, you go, I've got to punch one low and I've got to kind of hit a bit of a fade. So now you're looking down the fairway again. I've got to keep it under the horizon and I've got to go around the 50 marker and see if I can get it just finished to the right of it. That's a good example of that. Then you might be 30 short of the green and you go, okay, I've got to hit a pitch shot. That little net over there, I'm going to try and just pitch it into there. If you hit it in the net, give yourself a 1 putt. If you hit it nowhere near it, give yourself 2 putts and work out a scoring system. Now, that might not be the same as your actual handicap, but it's a game to play, and what the game's going to do is it's going to get your brain getting into the read, plan, do, checking that you do on every shot on the golf course. That's something that's a basic concept that we do in every sport, and that's how you'll get better at anything. But by practicing the random putt, that's what you're going to do on every single shot. You don't do that in the block practice. One club, one target. You're not playing golf in that environment. You're learning skills, you're becoming aware of various different basics, but you're not actually training your brain to deal with the randomness of a game of golf. That's the last half. That's the majority of your practice. So you've got to play games. So whatever that game is, it's got to be some rules, and there's got to be a scoring system. It can be as basic or as hard as you like. It can be for kids, it can be for adults, it can be for golf pros. This is how golf pros train. The games are just a hell of a lot harder than what you'd give to a 7-year-old kid who's just beginning the game. But the putting games that I play with my juniors are exactly the same games that I do now. My targets are smaller, things are harder, but it's still the same thing. So next time you come to the driving range, split it up. Block practice, variable practice, random practice. Keep doing that every time you come along, and I will guarantee you that over time that will pay off. You probably won't feel as good as when you walk away from hitting 100 drivers in a row, but I will guarantee you when you go to the golf course, it'll be better. So that's it for me. If you enjoyed this, check out my other video, subscribe down here, join me on YouTube, join me on Instagram, join me on Facebook, get into the game, and I'll see you next time.